I'm going to be doing videos on certain characters for the end of this Harry Potter series. I'm going to start with Dumbledore. Albus Dumbledore, the man that you are. Obviously, we know young Dumbledore and how he grew up, and the temptations of power, what Dumbledore believed in, how he aligned with Grindelwald for a little bit as well, until having to fight him and take his wand, which we know now is the Elder Wand. And yeah, that was a crazy. Dumbledore's story is just, yeah, crazy. But, and Taylor, I did watch the video. Dumbledore's plan, his grand plan that took 17 years, but he had planned probably even a little bit before that, to do all this and to make sure that Harry was well equipped with his own knowledge as well as things that Dumbledore had taught him briefly, and also a way for Harry to protect his soul in the end and make sure that he didn't end up like that little wretched creature that was at King's Cross as well. Yeah, definitely start at the beginning. Honestly, Harry's first year and what Dumbledore did that first year was the blueprint, like behind the scenes with the rest of Harry's life. Like, Dumbledore really molded everything to make sure Harry was okay and he was well kept after. And him being at the Dursleys, him going through that as a child, I feel like even that was part of the molding of Harry's character, and always having someone to watch him, even though undercover wizards or even muggles as well, that would be there to watch him. It's people that he trusted. Obviously, the only person really that he shouldn't have trusted was Peter Pettigrew. But yes, that first year, Harry coming to Hogwarts and him already not wanting to be in Slytherin, that was a big thing as well. And then two, the people that Dumbledore kind of placed around Harry. One being the Weasleys. I feel like him and Mr. and Mrs. Weasley were in constant contact with each other throughout the whole series. He was probably checking in on them to make sure Harry was okay. And you can see as time went on, they further further input themselves into Harry's life and make sure he was okay. So yeah, you see as time went on, he was spending more and more time with the Weasleys at the Burrow. They would even come to the Dursleys' house a couple of times, and things were getting better for Harry, and him being around the Weasleys was a key part to his character and having a family to be around. And that encapsulates Harry's character and being a good person, thinking about others before himself, and wanting everyone else to be okay. And then also with him and Dumbledore seeing the same thing in the mirror of Erised, that was a big part as well. Once Dumbledore, I think, realized that he was seeing the same thing, then he's like, okay, this is the boy that is going to be the one to take them down. Also, I think Dumbledore did want Neville not to be directly in that, group, but Neville was like in the background. I have a video on Neville coming later, but Neville was the ghost member of that crew. I believe that for sure, and I wish the movies kind of, I think they tried to illustrate that in the movies, with having some scenes that Dobby helped, like in the Goblet of Fire, when Neville was the one to suggest the thing to help Harry breathe underwater. In the movie, even though Dobby's the one that brought it to him, I think they're kind of just introducing, showing that Neville is going to be a bigger part and really is part of that crew. And then also Neville being one of Harry's roommates at Hogwarts as well. So Neville's right there, front and center for things. And yeah, he's that ghost member of the trio, the one that, helps them in the end. And that's why in the book, Harry's the one who goes to him and says, you have to kill the snake. There will still be 3 of you left. He said that there will still be 3 of you left after I'm gone. So yes, he did include Neville in that. And then Neville becoming a professor at Hogwarts just makes everything full circle. But back to Dumbledore. Since he had always meant for Harry to die, and he'd always meant for that, but I think as time went on in his plan, things went out of order for him that he didn't want to happen. Obviously, the Chamber of Secrets being opened, the thing Peter Pettigrew being alive the whole time, and him actually, Dumbledore, I feel like Dumbledore actually did believe Sirius did betray them, even though I think a lot of people believe that. They didn't, yeah. That, the Goblet of Fire situation, Dumbledore did not see that coming. But that was a blessing in disguise, because I feel like after the Goblet of Fire, Harry was equipped with the spells and experience. I think after that, by that point where he needed, I feel like Harry was equipped with everything, mostly that he needed after the Goblet of Fire, to do what he needed to do the next time. Now, after the Goblet of Fire, I feel like Dumbledore made a mistake in pulling himself away from Harry. In the Order of the Phoenix, Dumbledore was not in that book at all, really that much, except for the trial and a couple of scenes. I feel like that point, the Order of Phoenix, is when he should have implemented himself, and I feel like he should have taken point on teaching Harry occlumency, but it turned out okay in the end, because Harry had that connection still open and was able to see that Voldemort was doing the things he was. So that I think that helped in the end, that he was not good at occlumency. Except for Sirius's death. I do blame Dumbledore for Sirius's death. One, because it's like, if Harry didn't or did have the occlumency, he wouldn't have seen that, vision that Voldemort showed him and gone there. And then Snape is the one who sent them there. I would blame Dumbledore for Sirius's death. He messed up. Dumbledore messed up, and then he tried to, he obviously did say, Harry, you should be mad at me for Sirius's death in the 6th book, and he took charge in the 6th book and was able to kind of equip Harry with what he needed and the people he had around him as well, because he had a feeling, Dumbledore was a lot of guess and check and faith. He had faith that Harry, Hermione, and Ron would be able to do what they need to do and destroy the Horcruxes, and also faith that Snape would protect everyone at Hogwarts while everything was going on. So he did protect the students, he did his duties, and him having the utmost trust and faith in Snape because of his love for Lily, and he knew that, kind of abused that love for Lily, but he knew that Snape would never falter when it came to protecting what was Lily's, which is Harry. And he did that well. But also he said his fault was catching, feelings for Harry, and that's why he held back more than he should have. But everything worked out in the end, obviously not according exactly to Dumbledore's plan, but it worked out in the end. So, and Harry was able to protect his soul because he did not directly kill Voldemort. So yeah, it all worked out in the end. I know Dumbledore's probably smiling wherever he is, and yeah.